Formula One is heading to China. But before the Chinese Grand Prix even begins, the tension inside the paddock is already building, because the 2026 season has changed everything. New technical regulations, new hybrid systems, completely different cars. And according to Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff, the learning process is only just beginning. The season opener in Melbourne showed one thing very clearly: nobody has fully mastered these cars yet. Drivers are still discovering the limits, engineers are still understanding the systems, and teams are constantly adjusting. That's the reality of a regulation reset. Chaos first, understanding later. But Wolff isn't pretending everything is perfect. He admits the Australian Grand Prix exposed several problems, which was expected, because when Formula One introduces a new generation of cars, no team arrives fully prepared. What matters now is adaptation and speed of development. According to Wolff, the opening weekend gave Mercedes critical data. It showed where the car performs well, and more importantly, where it doesn't. And that's exactly what the team is focusing on before arriving at the Chinese Grand Prix. But Shanghai brings another complication: the sprint format, which means the teams will have only one practice session, 1 hour. That's all the time engineers get to understand the track conditions and adjust the setup. In a normal weekend, that would already be difficult. In a brand new technical era, it becomes a serious challenge, because every setup decision now affects energy deployment, aerodynamic balance, and tire degradation. Get it wrong, and the entire race weekend collapses. But Mercedes isn't the only team preparing for this battle. Wolff openly admits the competition is intense, especially with Scuderia Ferrari and several other teams that may not have shown their full performance yet, which means the real hierarchy of the 2026 season still isn't clear. And that uncertainty makes Shanghai even more important, because races early in a regulation cycle can define momentum. Teams that solve their problems quickly gain an advantage that lasts for months. Teams that hesitate spend the season chasing. Wolff also pointed to something bigger than just performance. Formula One itself is growing. Global interest continues to rise, and China has become a key market for the sport. Since the race returned to the Shanghai International Circuit, grandstands have been packed with fans. For Mercedes, this race matters not only competitively, but strategically, because success here strengthens their presence in one of the world's largest automotive markets. But none of that changes the reality on track. Shanghai will demand precision. Teams must adapt quickly. Drivers must push cars that are still unpredictable. And engineers must make critical decisions with limited data, which means the Chinese Grand Prix could reveal something important. Not just who is fast, but who understands the new Formula One era the best. Because in 2026, the fastest team is not always the one with the best car. Sometimes, it's the one learning the fastest.